It has been a while since I've done an update on my fish house. I started building at the start of the year, and a lot has happened, I think, since my last update. I haven't done one purely because I wanted this one to be kind of like, wow, something's happened. And if you've been following my short videos, you'll know that I had a massive flood this week. We are drying out, it's okay. A lot of the water's actually going into the concrete, and the rest of it I've swept out the door. The reason I went for concrete is the fact that it's sort of absorbent and it will soak away a lot of that moisture. There's still a bit left, you can see. I've had the doors open pretty much all the time during the daytime when it's sort of warm, but we're getting there. In terms of tanks, you can see that we've got lots and lots of tanks in here now. This is my latest creation. This is what I've been doing behind the scenes. I have been showing it on Instagram and things like that, but if you don't follow me, this will be your first sort of look at this. I'm going to look at this one last because this is my newest one, and obviously I want to keep you in suspense. So going back to this side of the room, I think in my last update this was pretty much all I had in here. I think I just installed this system here. So we got in this corner, we've got my freshwater plant system. I use this just for growing floating plants. You can see they do really well. We've got some UK frog bit there. We've got some dwarf water lettuce here, although, you know, I don't think it stays dwarf. In here somewhere are crystal shrimp. Yeah, there's a few really nice ones in there. They haven't bred yet though, so I think this has been going for a good 3 months and we've had no babies. So if you know why that is, it'd be nice to know. I would have expected them to breed by now. We've got some Amazon frog bit in this one, more shrimp. These are yellow neocaradinas. Again, these haven't bred yet, so I must be doing something wrong because there's definitely males and females. They've definitely got enough food, and I've seen some buried shrimp in here, but just no babies. So I'd like to know what's going on. Obviously there's a molt there, so they're definitely molting and stuff. So maybe it's just a matter of waiting a little bit longer. And then down the bottom, I have got somewhere my little turtle, map turtle. He comes in during the winter. Well, this is his first winter actually, but he's been in my pond for the summertime, and now I've brought him in here just to chill out during the winter time. And this is his little habitat. He loves it in there. It's great, nice and warm for him, and he's on a really nice diet of reptomine. So on to the saltwater systems. Obviously this fish house is mainly for growing macroalgae. That's the reason for it. The freshwater bit is a bit of a diversion. Here we have the main bulk of my sort of hobby and the reason this place exists, and that is my saltwater systems for macroalgae. I've got T5 lighting along the top here. That's a 50/50 bulb and a marine white because that's a good spectrum for macroalgae. We've got so many different species now, it's unbelievable. These systems have only just matured. 3 months it's taken, which is quite quick actually for a marine system. They've been through some tough times. I've had cyno, I've had diatoms, all sorts of things. But I've pushed through it, they've pushed through it, and now we're coming out the other side. I've added some sand as well since my last update. The reason being, I was getting problems with the KH dropping through the floor, so I've added a little bit of sand just to buffer that. And it seems to be working quite nicely in here. So, you know, I won't go through all the macroalgae species, but you can see they're doing really well. The sump, which this system is connected to, again, we've got more macroalgae. We've also got my colony of saltwater mollies. They have successfully bred. We've got babies now, which is awesome. The first batch of babies, I think they all just died. Not sure why, but this is the second sort of batch of them. And they're still going. There's an even smaller one. Interestingly though, they all seem to be silver. Now someone did tell me that in saltwater mollies sort of go back to their natural colour, which is kind of like a silvery brown colour. So even though I've got some golds in here, black and whites and things, I'm expecting over the long term for these just to all go silver, and then again more macroalgae species in here. All these species, they've only just really started to grow. It's been a long time of these just looking awful. But one thing I found out about macroalgae is it does not like a immature system. And they don't tend to grow very well in an immature system. Moving on. Now I'm not going to go into this tank in a great depth. I want to do it in another video. But this is my Fluval Shaker. I've done lots of shorts, lots of Instagram things on this tank. And wowee, look at it. It is looking brilliant now, isn't it? Again, this is connected to this sump. So this whole system is one big system of 900 litres. And it really helps to get this tank looking nice, because that's a lot of volume of water for this amount of fish. You know, it's a good amount of water. And we've got all sorts going on in here. This tank's just getting over its diatom bloom. It's only been running about a month and a half, I think. So all this lava rock that's in here has taken a long time to mature. Obviously it was dry when it went in there, so it's just starting to mature. All this nasty, horrible brown algae is disappearing. The sandbed's going a bit green, but I've got surf snails in there. I've got this strawberry conch and some hermits, which I can't see at the moment. And everything's looking absolutely stunning. I'm well happy with it. Over in this corner we've got my Fluval Flex123. Now I'm not doing a lot with this tank. The real purpose of it is just to do an experiment with this red hair algae. I saw a biotope in an aquarium in Austria a couple of years ago, Haus de Meer, and they like to, well, when I was there at least, they had a few tanks where they had a single species of macroalgae and then some soft corals. So that's what I'm going to do with this tank. We're just going to have a big carpet of this red hair algae, and then we're going to put some more soft corals in here, mushrooms and things like that, with this clownfish. And that's it really, that's what this is for. So it will look nice down the line, but it's just a sort of experimental thing. And we've got my workbench there, and then onto this system. So this is half of one system. So over here is where the next one's going to be going. Obviously it's a mess, it's just crap there at the moment. My tanks from in my other shed are going to be going here. So here we're going to have two 4-foot tanks, glass, and then it will run from that into there and down and through. So you can see I've already fitted the plumbing here, and this is for the next system. Luckily this ball valve works really well, because this is under a fair bit of pressure and no water's coming out, so that's good. So here we are, this is it. This is my sump. We've got 200 and something litres in there. That's the waste for that, so I can do a good water change whenever I want. We've got a pond pump powering it, some live rock. That goes into this pond filter. I've just done a review on this, so check that out. I'll put the link in the description. And then we go up, we go through and into the system. So these are, you might recognise them, they're warehouse storage trays. So they're plastic, food grade plastic. I've got T5s above there. I find T5s work better for macroalgae than most LEDs. The reason being is I think a lot of the LEDs that are specific for corals miss out certain parts of the spectrum which macroalgae appreciates. With T5s you get a broader spectrum, and I found that most macroalgae actually benefit from that. This system's only had lights on it since this morning. I literally just installed these ones, and I've just put some few straggly bits of macroalgae just to see how we go. You can tell as well by how clean they are that they haven't been running for very long, probably a week and a half. So we've just got some Cheeto in there and bits and pieces just to see how we go. Nothing special, but it works really well. As again, you can see my pipe work comes down, so they're all individual tubs. So if I need to take one out, I can isolate them, take them out, clean them, do what I want. We've got T5s under here as well. So all works really, really nicely. I'm super happy with it. It's just a matter of seeing now, I guess, how it all runs. This is not a standard setup for a marine system. This is more of a commercial setup. So if you were going to go into sort of a fish wholesaler or a coral wholesaler, this is more of what you would see in that kind of environment. A lot of places, not necessarily in the UK, but a lot of places overseas will have stuff like this. They'll have tubs, they'll be using non-reef pumps. You know, they don't have to use something that says reef. This is a pond pump, Amphibious IQ, works perfectly. I've been running one in my other fish house for like 2.5 years, absolutely never misses a beat, but for a pond. But the good thing about pond stuff is it tends to have a high output compared to aquarium stuff. So when you jump up to something that's this sort of size Everything needs to step up a gear. Everything needs to go from that sort of consumer side to more commercial, wholesale. Although this is a consumer unit, you know, it's just a pond pump and a pond filter, but it just gives you an overview. When you go to a bigger sort of setup, this is more of what you're going to be having, rather than like this Flex, you get that, you know what I mean? It's completely different sort of paradigm of filtration and how systems and things run. But if you follow me, we will be going through this system as it matures. The next update, I'll probably already have this system installed, so I won't bother with showing you a video of me putting the pipes and that in, because it's a bit boring, a bit of a waste of time. In other news though, this insulation which I put in this fish house works an absolute treat. So we've got 25mm Celotex. It's not cheap. I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. So it's that foamy stuff with the silver on each side, and it's so warm in here. Between that and the metal, we've also got this silvery bubble wrap. I tell you what, it is so warm in here. Even on nights we've had recently where it's been like 5 degrees outside, it has stayed rock solid in here. So I'm so happy with that, and how it's going to obviously save me in electric, because heating is going to be a bit cheaper than my wooden shed, which just leaks heat everywhere. This is going to be absolutely brilliant. Another thing though, which I was expecting, is this condensation. Now it's not too bad because it runs down this bar and it hits the floor, and that's still from the flood. It hits the floor kind of along this row, and that actually doesn't have anything other than floor, so it just goes into the floor. It's not a big deal. I guess what happens is these gaps that I have done, the air goes up there, hits the roof, and then it just drips back down as it condenses. But it's not an issue because it's not going on any of my tanks or my systems, so it's no big deal. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a real pleasure making this fish house. I really enjoyed it. I've done it in a way that is a bit more professional than my last one. My last one was just put together with a load of old junk that I had laying around. Even the wood was like rubbishy old wood. This stuff is more rock solid. Although I probably should have painted it, I don't really mind. It's not going to rot really. It's quite tough wood, so I'm pretty happy with that. And that's the end of the video. So if you want to see more of this kind of content, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Once again, thanks for watching, and happy fish keeping.